Recording. I
Got
hit a
it.
recorder. I mean,
Got
you
it.
do it. You what? You got what?
It.
He's got it.
I got my voice
I got
back.
it too.
And so does
Mm,
Luke.
Everyone's got a voice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's just like democracy, except for
Different.
on this small
Actually,
of a scale, it actually kind of works. For now. We'll see.
You fucker.
We'll see. We'll see if I get you guys ousted.
Are you gonna put a coup? Stage a coup?
Yeah, what is that? The night of long knives
Yeah.
through the internet.
Right.
The night of long knife emojis.
That kind of fits this movie, I guess.
I saw
Yeah.
someone claiming it was the night of the long knives because some dude got kicked off a TV channel.
I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
to catch you guys up, we are about to have a test of the emergency phone alert system tomorrow in the
Right.
US. And a lot of people are like, well, when that alarm goes off, then everyone who's vaccinated will have the something or other virus activated and they'll become zombies.
Ooh, that's very exciting.
That's what the right says. On the left, it's like if you're hiding from your abuser, then make sure your phone is on silent. If you're hiding a phone from your abuser because you live in hell. Anyway.
Okay. They don't. Yeah, they just have like sci-fi alarms go off around here every once in
Yeah,
a
they go
while.
off all the time in Japan because there's constant earthquakes and stuff.
Constant
Oh yeah,
Godzilla.
we're like zombies time 27 now then, because
You
they'll
guys got
they'll
27 vaccines, man. We're
well
so
no,
far
I'm just
behind.
saying we'll get no, I'm talking about the number of alert. We'll get alerts when there's gonna be really rainy.
That sounds
we
nice, actually.
we go yeah, but it's really loud and
Is it?
annoying, and it goes
It doesn't.
everyone's alarm in the school goes off all at the same time.
It should play a little song like the subway, like do 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 do.
That would be
That's for
nicer.
rain.
That'd be
Yeah.
nicer. But what is the noise? It's like it's something
Uh,
horrible. Yeah.
yeah. Ack.
There, that's it. Yes.
Ack.
Okay. I guess you wanna
Okay.
you wanna start the shot.
In at number 0, a number which is shaped like a ring, eh?
Mm.
It's the studio system. Fuck them. So
It
we're
could,
doing Japanese horror movies.
I never thought about it till I was looking at the wiki page, but you could be like it's the ring, like the ring of the phone, and not the ring of the ring. But then they do put a ring on the cover, I guess, don't they? Or the
Uh,
poster.
I will bet you $5 that one of the parody movies we do later has that. It'll be a ringtone that kills you.
Mm.
Mm.
That makes sense. This is really Ringu though.
Ringu.
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 I
As
mean,
we've
it's just ring written with
Yeah.
Japanese characters.
right, but we have to distinguish it from the other ring, which is
But you
That's
say
the
ring,
ring.
not the
The
This
ring.
is ring. It's not the ring. Yeah.
Ringu. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, and
Ringo.
then I labeled this Zoom meeting wrong. I put the in it. So we have to talk about
Idiot.
the other movie
Start
now.
over. Okay, great.
Cool. Have any of us seen the other one?
No.
Yeah.
I watched the YouTube supercut of scenes side by side.
Oh, okay. Which one
Yeah.
looks better?
The Japanese one looked considerably
Yeah.
better.
I don't think the American one's as good. It's been
It was
fun.
trying way too hard from what I could see.
Yeah, it's a lot of super MTV like cuts and then everything looks
Yeah.
like a zombie.
Ah, okay. Anyway, introductions. Matt is here. Mark's
Luke is
voice is here.
here.
Luke is here. Mark's voice is here.
Wow, usually
From
I
the-
cut off Luke, but you cut off Luke with my name.
That's right.
impressive.
That's right, because you've been in the blood dumpster.
Yeah, I'm out of the blood dumpster, ready to rock, ready to be scared to shit by this movie.
He said he got his voice back from the blood dumpster. Actually, he said it was
Yeah,
from
it's
the
back.
cum dumpster, but
I didn't say anything dumpster,
I
but
was
you started saying dumpsters, and I was like,
okay.
okay.
That's where you get your voice from. You get your voice from the dumpster.
I got it from a volcano.
So what is everyone's ring history? I was basically by the time the American one came out, I was not watching so many horror movies, so I never watched anything ring related until last night.
I was not a horror fan growing up. Not because like, oh, it's too scary, because it usually they were just bad films and didn't scare me. So I didn't really watch it. And then since moving to Japan, me and my friend Rob will often watch a horror movie around Halloween. And we did this one year and then The Grudge the year after. And yeah, I dug it. The first time I watched it was in Rob's apartment, and then I was sleeping alone in his bed in his living room that night. And I found out the next morning that he was desperately trying to figure out a way to turn on his TV from the bedroom and spook me.
All right, I'm gonna try to make this short. I saw the American version when it came out. I was sort of on a date, but not really. But I was really scared, and I could tell that my sort of date was trying not to laugh at me for being scared. So then, this was, early 2000s. I was kind of broke in my 20s. I had a hand-me-down CRT TV in my room that was like a, I don't know, 20-inch TV, and it had this plastic button that would kind of get jammed, and I usually have to push it like a few times to get the TV to turn on. It was just old and the plastic was shrinking or whatever. I had a VCR hooked up to it, which was on channel 3 like you used to do. So the VCR is off. So when you would turn the TV on, it would be static. So what happened was 4 a.m. that night, the same night I saw The Ring, that TV started turning on and off by itself, waking me up, freaked me the hell out. I unplugged it, never left that TV plugged in again, except when I was watching it.
It's like how I said I'm scared of my alarm clock because it's too loud.
Yeah.
So on the rare occasions I set it, I'll wake up like 5 to 10 minutes before it goes off and then put it under my pillow so it's not so loud.
Well, this was a very insane coincidence. But a few years later, I watched the Japanese one for the first time. And basically, when I started watching it, I was like, this isn't as scary as the American one. And by the end of it, I was more scared.
Oh, okay. So you're a scaredy cat, is what you're saying.
This scares me. My theory is that because I am a try-hard person, perfectionist, that the idea of you do everything right and still die is really scary to me. I think that's part of what makes it specifically Japanese.
You've been copying stuff since the mid-90s, like on the regs.
But also having to screw somebody over to survive is also scary because I'm a people pleaser. And I think that also is part of why this is specifically Japanese. Because
I wonder if that probably doesn't translate as well in America, where like that's just how you live, right?
Yeah, you screw everybody over. It's capitalism. Like this probably didn't scare anybody. But it scared me anyway.
I mean, I guess I like the American one less. The only thing that makes me jump are the you're right. So I don't like that.
Well, yeah, the Japanese one has way less effect. But basically, there's only one special effect in the whole film, and it's much more of like a slow, tense kind of a build kind of movie. So it's all building to that one scare at the end. Whereas from what I understand, the American one is trying to sort of give you little spooks throughout. But I feel like it's just going to feel like a horror movie at that point. Whereas watching the Japanese one, especially when it first came out, probably was like, man, what's this weird Japanese VHS tape that everyone's watching that's so spooky? I can see how it would get to you on like a meta level.
Well, what the thing that I could say to the American version's credit is if you watch that after the Japanese version, there are things that will be ratcheted up that will scare you because you're expecting, like the girl in the closet is super duper mangled in the American version.
Right.
But it was big and dumb, but it was competent. Naomi Watts is good. Always good.
Yeah.
There's horses in it. They put horses in it. Spooked horses.
Do they shoot the horses? Fun. They shoot horses, don't they?
I don't think that they don't. I don't think they shoot horses in that. But there's a scene where they're just on a boat, and then a horse just like freaks out and jumps off a boat. And it's spooky. So
yeah, the horses usually don't do that. I don't know. Maybe they do that all the time. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Luke's gonna explode.
Okay. As I understand it, horses are pretty easily spooked.
They're not the smartest.
Well, there's that. Yeah, that's that. I think that Doors song "Horse Latitudes" is about all the horses jumping off the boat or something.
Yeah, maybe that plays in the movie. Who knows?
Or maybe they threw him off. I don't know. So
you think it was like the Lemmings, or it was like a faked, like they said the horses jumped, but they really threw them off?
I don't know. It
What
was...
you mean in this motion picture? Yes, obviously.
Gore Verbinski is like had to answer for.
Did you think this was a documentary, Mark?
Japanese one, probably. It's like it does have a sort of a naturalistic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. That's why I feel like I can imagine this one. I haven't properly watched the American one, but that naturalistic tone is kind of what makes it scarier for me. Although slightly undercut now because Hiroyuki Sanada is like the most famous Japanese guy in the world.
Yeah, that kind of throws things off a bit. I mean, I was like, oh, he's in it. Because I didn't really know anything except that this movie existed. That's about it. And that there's a lot of sequels and continuing to this day.
You know, it's based on a book. Sequels.
Yes, I did.
And the book is a trilogy, and it gets into a bunch of sci-fi. The Sadako's powers are actually a virus nonsense.
Well, they did the whole Halloween thing very early, as in the retcon. Like they made a sequel called Spiral that came out the same year as this, and then there was Ring 2. And I believe the American Ring 2 is another completely different thing. And there may have been an American Spiral, unless I'm...
Is it the American Spiral is from the Saw series, I think.
I think that's a different Spiral, but I could be wrong.
Damn, too many spirals, wrong, too many Saws.
Too many.
You could have a Saws that's like a spiral.
Yeah.
I think that's the... Well, I don't know, man. We're not doing Saw. I'm just saying that right now. We're not doing it.
Did you Saw?
I saw the first Saw. I did not see the other 9.
I've seen some of the Saws. I think I stopped at like 3 or 4.
It's like whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Like I said, I was, especially in the 2000s, I was not very well. Actually, I'm still not very on the horror page, so I'm very not caught up on horror. You know, I saw most of my horror as a teenager.
One of the guys who made Saw is the guy who directed and wrote Upgrade, so like that's way more my branch of that.
Upgrade.
Anyway. Speaking of upgrades, is a banger,
to be fair.
Yes, I might watch that again this Halloween. Anyway, so
what?
I'm looking at my notes of things that I wanted to say and points I wanted to make, and they're just a cluttered mess.
Okay, that's fun.
I said something about the idea of doing everything right and failing freaks me out. Are there things in topics in horror movies that freak you guys out, like punishments?
I have a certain body horror threshold.
That makes sense.
For me, it's never seeing people die in films doesn't bother me. Seeing people have horrible injuries and continue to be alive bothers me. So that's in horror movies, action movies, war movies, anything. When I see a guy like their arms off and they're looking at it or whatever, it's much easier for me to imagine that. Whereas when I see a guy die, I'm like, well, he's dead. I don't know what that feels like.
That's how I felt about Human Centipede 2, where I was like, is making me horribly uncomfortable to watch all these people suffer. But it also made me wonder, am I a psychopath for just wishing they would just die so they could stop suffering?
Well, you don't have to worry about that, Ringu. Yeah.
Yeah, at least that's not a documentary either.
Human Centipede 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, never mind.
That's all real, man.
Damn it.
I guess we should make a summary
you can
here.
tell because it's black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're in a documentary.
Are you up for that as your choice, or do we patch it in
later?
Sure. Okay.
Some teen girls watch a spooky horror tape and then mysteriously die. The auntie of one of them, Reiko Asakawa, is a journalist, and she begins to investigate the mysterious tape, along with her ex-husband, Ryuji Takayama, who's a little bit psychic. They discover that the tape is the work of weird ghost lady Sadako Yamamura, who was a psychic experiment who was chucked down a well. They go and recover her body from a well and help her be at peace. And it seems as if everything is okay because Reiko's 7 days are up and she survives. But then Ryuji is still killed by Sadako when she crawls out of the TV. And Reiko realizes that she didn't survive because she put Sadako to peace, but because her son had watched the tape. So she quickly hurries to offer up her own father as a sacrificial lamb to save her son.
I mean, he's gonna be Genki and pass it on to, he can go show it to local officials.
But 7 days is a pretty good window. You could consistently keep this at bay quite easily.
Until you give it to somebody who that person always forgets to pay their bills. And then they
deserve death.
Yeah. Then it ends.
Where it's like how we, Luke and I still haven't gotten around to watching Andor. If we had a week to watch Andor, we'd be dead.
Yeah. Oh,
it's worth it.
If my life depended on it.
Even if you die watching it, you should watch Andor.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes you don't get around to watching things, especially in a week. So,
yeah, well, I'm on, I don't know. It's been like 2.5 years since I started watching Voyager, and I finally started cramming the 3rd, 4th seasons in the last week, part of 2 days of which I could not do anything.
So Tuvix is going to come and kill you. He's going to crawl out of your TV.
Nah, man, you ever had a dream where you want him to do you so bad you could do anything?
Luke, bro.
Tuvix? Yeah, all the time. So Luke, you said you'd watched what was it? You watched another.
I watched this, and then a year later I watched The Grudge.
Right. So I've seen Dark Water and I've seen The Grudge. And I think that's sort of it, even though I definitely had seen a few American movies that stole from this. The worst offender, I think, was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, where they try to help Freddy, thinking that he was not a child molester, and then he comes out, he's like, I was a child molester, I molested you. And then it's just stupid. I hate it. Anyway.
Wes Craven is very on the record that no, Freddy does not molest the children. He murders the children. There's a difference.
Exactly. He knew not to cross that line because he just can't write that.
Okay, you were making a point that I interrupted. Were you going somewhere with that?
Oh, just the derivative nature of everything that came after this. This is like it's like the double-edged sword of this being a brilliant, incredible movie that was copied a lot. I don't know about the sequels, but also something I was thinking about, not to go too far off on a tangent before we even start talking about the movie, but this came out 2 years after Scream, which was also a movie where people got phone calls and then died. How do you guys feel about Scream? I kind of hate Scream. This is almost like the opposite of it for me.
I remember liking it when it came out, but
I think I saw the first one when it came out. I don't really remember.
I saw the second one, but I never saw any other ones. And yeah, I have 25-year-old memories of it. So
I've only seen the first two, but I think Scream is about people who are like, yeah, man, don't go in there and die. It's a horror movie. And then they are in a horror movie. But this movie is like, they go all in on like, you know what? We're going to watch this tape, this cursed tape. Screw it. Also, there's psychic powers. There's, crazy premonition stuff. And we all do a bunch of dumb stuff, and then we just have to kill everybody.
Scream's like deconstructionist. That's supposed to be kind of funny, right? It's like it's kind of a horror comedy, whereas this one is like. I was going to ask if this is sort of the ground zero for modern horror, being a guy that really doesn't watch much horror.
In a way, it is. But I think it's a very specific branch that, like I said, ended up getting super carbon copied.
Okay, because Japanese kids are still excited about Sadako, I think.
Mark, what year was Scream, sorry?
96.
The TV film version of this was 95.
Ah. Well then. Maybe they stole from this. Who knows? Probably not.
And then also the novel was 91. But this is the similarities with Scream are pretty superficial. Like, it's not actually tonally that similar at all.
Yeah, I never had that thought till today, really.
Yeah, and Scream is very... I think it's just that in the 90s, everyone was on the phone all the time.
Yeah, it's true. No cell phones.
And maybe it stands out to us now because, like, using a house phone is so alien to me now.
Yeah, if things ring. Things don't ring.
If Sadako had to call me, then I might not even have my phone on.
It'd probably be an unidentified
I might
number.
get a voicemail.
Yeah, my phone is on silent and I never answer my phone. So
yeah.
So we're good. Sadako must be so bored now.
She just texts you, I bet, in the new ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Sends you a GIF of she comes out of a GIF on your phone.
Are you familiar with Hanako?
I don't think so.
Hanako is the ghost that lives in the Japanese elementary school toilet.
Oh.
Yeah. So that
and junior high school and high school.
Yeah, but the kids that usually talk about are the elementary.
That's also a ring, the toilet.
That's true. That's a ring around the toilet.
And the arsehole.
Mm-hmm. Eruption.
It's the monad.
But Sadako in this film is, you're talking about this being very modern, or like, modern for 1990, whatever.
Yeah.
But her depiction is like very traditional Japanese ghost. Ghosts are depicted that way in Japanese media because a woman would never be seen with her hair down while she's alive. And then a woman with her hair down is basically something you'd only see when you're like, looking at the open casket, basically. So that's why ghosts are always depicted with like the long scraggly hair.
Makes sense. That was most recently, saw that in the game Amori. I don't know if you, I know you didn't play it, Matt. I don't know if you played
I'm aware of it.
It's very long.
Jay is a big fan of it.
I fell off because I played for 30 hours and didn't finish one playthrough, and you're supposed to play through it multiple times. And I was like, this is too much. But I ruined it because I looked up the ending instead of watching a video of it. There's a very
effective some time.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's like one of those things where you could sort of experience it for yourself, at least by watching someone else play it, where you just look at the paragraph and then destroy your good mood for the weekend because it's super sad. Anyway, but yeah, the main what would you call it, a yokai? And that
I was gonna say she's kind of one of the nastier yokai, I guess.
She's not a yokai, she's a yurei.
Yurei.
Yokai are like supernatural creatures,
right?
Like little goblins and stuff. But she's a ghost of a dead person, so she's a yurei.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well,
if you're being really pedantic, you could maybe say yurei are a type of yokai, but not really. They're quite separate.
Because wasn't Jibanyan a cat that got run over and then became a yokai?
Yeah, but that's not a person.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the dog face salaryman, or it's the man face dog or whatever that used to be a lawyer. So maybe it's like a horrible death or something, and you become.
Is that also, an anime?
Matt's talking about a children's anime.
Okay,
that's how
you're saying these characters like they're just people and I'm like, from what?
Yeah, they are cuter, that's for sure. But that's where I know most about yokai. Mark, you actually you've been immersed in some yokai stuff because you and I went to Namja Town in Tokyo once, and they had that whole like yokai area with the eyeball boy and stuff, and they would have had a few Sadako looking things around there as well. I don't know if you remember, but
I don't remember specific. The thing that sticks out to me about that was there was a lot of war stuff, which was weird.
Right. They also had the Vietnam themed section for some reason, like as in war. And then they had the yokai section and then the magical forest. That was a weird place. Yeah.
And that was right next to Ice Cream City.
That's Ice Cream City's in there. It's part of it.
Ice Cream City. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
right next to the war part.
Yeah.
It was right next to war. And you get like 50 kinds of ice cream, including I got sweet potato. It was very good.
We had Goya, the bitter gourd ice cream there once. But for people who don't know, this is just a bizarre indoor theme park in Tokyo that is run by Namco. So
yep. And so Namja is, I guess, Namco's
Naranja is the cat's name, I guess. Naranja is the cat's name. No, it's very confusing, isn't it?
Because Capcom had a mascot that was like Captain Commando, and that's what Capcom came from, I think. Or that may have come after the fact. But there was a game called Captain Commando, and he's like the Capcom guy.
I remember playing the game a lot. No, I'm thinking Bionic Commando. That's why I played a lot.
I think Bionic Commando is a different guy.
Yeah, I know. That's why I made the distinction.
Do you know I'm trying to clarify. Bionic Commando?
Oh, where his arm is his wife?
Yeah.
Sorry, spoilers.
That's what I was going to bring up too.
Yeah, it's great.
Who's the dude that bites it in the American version of The Ring?
I think his name is Noah or something.
I mean the actor. I'm just wondering which actor bites it. Because here, of course, like Luke said, you have basically the most famous international. Well, I guess he has to flip a coin with Watanabe, but yeah, it's him or Sanada.
Martin Henderson. He's from New Zealand.
He's just some guy.
He's in X. I don't remember him from X, but I guess he was in X.
I was going to have like instant name recognition or not, and I didn't because Naomi Watts. Okay, that we know her. So, whereas and then the actress in the Japanese one that plays Rie, is she? I guess she's not that known in the Western sphere.
She looked maybe a little familiar, but this is also like the third time I've seen this. So the hell I know.
There is a certain vibe to like 90s Japanese films for sure.
She's in the Great Yokai War Guardians. Speaking of yokai.
Oh, okay. So she knows more about yokai then. That's good.
About that. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as she did Grave of the Fireflies. She had a voice in that.
I could keep making those noises for a while if you'd like.
What? Okay. Is that what that's supposed to do?
Yeah.
She's doing like a NHK talking about Ieyasu drama right now.
Oh, there. So she's still working. Good for her.
Oh, she's done a couple of different
rings.
She did Ring 2.
No. She didn't want to go back to the Ring. Oh, okay.
She did do Ring 2, yeah.
Oh, looks like Ring 2 has Yoichi getting special powers.
Oh. Like fireballs? That? Maybe he goes Super Saiyan or something.
The cover of the film has a picture of him without a shirt on looking very scary and evil. So yeah.
Well, Children of Psychics.
Maybe it's time to watch some of these sequels finally.
Never trust the Children of Psychics.
I mean, yeah, that's what they say.
That's what this movie certainly says. I do like I was gonna say these 90s Japanese films. I feel like they show you really bland locations, but really make the colors pop a lot. Is that just me? Is that a reasonable observation?
Well, also they're bland locations to us now, Matt, but watching them in the 90s in America, maybe they were more interesting locations.
Or it might be
doesn't look like
thing.
your typical. Yeah, it doesn't look like your typical places. I mean, it's also part of the whole naturalistic thing. It feels like places where people live.
You
know?
Yeah, it doesn't look like Hollywood sets. Even the houses look pretty legit.
I'd kind of compare it to Jaws, really.
I could see that a little bit. No, actually, I'm wondering if it's a film thing because I'm comparing it to what I see, playing on the TV downstairs these days, which would probably be shot digitally. So maybe it's me film snobbing a bit.
Yeah. Especially in a film that's about like VHS tapes and haunted media and static on the TV and stuff. You want it filmed on film. You want a slightly grimy look to it.
And then the other stuff is kind of your effect.
It's the kind of story that the more budget you throw at it, the worse it's going to be. Because looking a little shonky really helps.
Yeah, the wiki said this had a 1.5 million budget, which is nothing.
Yeah, and this and Spiral were like shot at the same time and released at the same time.
Yeah, which is nuts. That never happens here.
They were so
unless
cheap.
It's well, they did it even like Matrix, the Matrix sequels. They wanted to release them closer together, and the studio said no.
I believe those were 9 months apart. 6 months, yes.
I think it was 6.
Well, sometimes, I mean, even though this is obviously an edgy, groundbreaking film, sometimes it benefits stuff like this to not be super stylized. Like, I think Rosemary's Baby is a really good comparison, partly because it's got a similar rhythm to it, and also because Rosemary's Baby is also about do everything you can and you're still fucked.
So okay, now we know your biggest bugaboo then. Okay.
That's my bug. Oh, well, I mean, I actually like Rosemary's Baby better than this, aside from fuck Roman Polanski, but
No, I'm just talking about what flips you out.
Yeah, it's scary, right? I mean, I don't know. To me, the two things are like that, and then watching somebody whose life completely sucks like Enter the Void.
Oh yeah, that's
Like that guy's life sucks and he dies basically.
There's lots of trippy colors involved, so you get that too.
Can't say there aren't, but I was upset, very upset.
It's a movie that I would think would be very, very rewatchable for me, but it's not. Like I'd be much more likely to watch Ringu again, you know?
I mean, that movie was part of why I quit smoking weed. I was like, I cannot be on drugs anymore. This is horrible.
So hey, it worked for you.
Scared you straight.
I don't know. It depends on whether you think that smoking weed is bad or not. I am.
Well, it's a gateway drug, Mark. It saved you from getting into heroin and cocaine.
You could be on this podcast now shooting heroin into your eyeballs.
I definitely did.
You could be eating a baby in a sandwich.
I didn't do heroin because I hung out with people one night and they were doing heroin. They all looked really bad. So I was like, no, thanks.
Yeah. That seems like a bad call anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
Luke, this is your choice. Did you have like a something you wanted to throw out on it?
I just generally, like I said at the start of this podcast, horror doesn't get to me much, but something about this kind of spooky J horror does get me. Whether it's this, The Grudge, like games like Project Zero, or like certain mangas like Junji Ito's manga. I think it's because of the very subdued Japanese just attitude generally. Like in a horror movie, when they start screaming and overreacting, takes me out. But because in Japanese horror, the reactions are very subdued, I could just take the horror in on my own terms, I think. And also just living in Japan and not fully understanding everything around me a lot of the time, the idea that there could be something spooky around a corner is it gets to me. Like when I go hiking and it's like in the daytime, these villages look so cute and quaint, right? This little village in the middle of the mountains. But when you're coming down the mountain and it's nighttime and you see this abandoned little temple and a ratty little cage for catching bears and all these tiny houses that are in disrepair, you're like, oh, what's going to get me?
Okay. See, I'm still charmed walking around these places at night. So I don't know. I mean, obviously there's things that get to me, but I didn't find this movie particularly scary. Actually, I liked it, but I did not find it scary, except for the couple times the soundtrack was making you jump. But that's a jump scare. That's slightly different. Like I didn't have the existential dread after watching it that it sounds like you guys do a little more. Like I was like,
what films do give you that then?
Well, I've said I always, it's another jump scare, but a little freaky, right? Even though I know exactly where it's coming, I always tend to fast forward through the face hugger coming out of the egg in Alien.
Oh yeah, but I'm not talking about during the film, because like this film never like gave me a jump scare or scared me during the film. It's a scary atmosphere.
Right.
So does anything leave you with that dread?
There is sorry, give me a moment to rack my brain on that.
I'll tell you right now, every time I've watched this or the American version, I have trouble sleeping for like a week afterward. That's why I watch this during the day.
I think The Shining is a fun watch, so that wouldn't be in the running.
Yeah, The Shining's just a blast.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the horror movies I would put on regularly. I guess the one that scares me, I wouldn't put on so regularly.
That's it. It shouldn't be one that you're putting on regularly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one you don't want to put on regularly.
Movies that have given me gnarly nightmares. There has to be something out there.
And Hereditary did that to me. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I haven't. For Japanese horror, let me make sure I'm getting the title right. There's a late 60s film, which I do find intensely creepy. I want to say it's Kwaidan. But I want to double check that name. That one, again, it's like this kind of atmosphere, but like amped up, you know? Sorry, just make sure I'm getting it right. I'm still making sure I'm getting it right. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Kwaidan is a 1964 Japanese anthology horror film. I find that one pretty freaky. It's an anthology. It's like 3 or 4 stories. In fact, that was on my mind until Luke said The Ring. So I was like, "There's our Japanese horror." But if someone had said choose your Japanese horror, I would have gone with that.
You guys have seen Hausu, right?
I've heard of it.
I haven't.
Matt, you need to watch Hausu.
I think both you Luke, and Andrew told me to watch it.
Yeah, because it is aggressively trippy and weird, but also uncomfortable in like a dark, almost Muppet Show gone wrong way. maybe maybe I don't know how to. Maybe they'll show up on the podcast someday, but it's 1977, I think. So it's really weird. Lots of like cardboard special effects and things like that. But
well, actually,
it's
getting
about
back,
ghosts, angry ghosts. It's
getting
about
back
ghost. Do you know about ghost marriages? Where it's
that sounds
like
familiar.
someone dies and then it's like someone dies and then you marry their ghost. I can't remember the rules anymore. I had to look this up.
There's one that's kind of creepy. Again, Japanese. So I guess the Japanese do have creepier stuff. It was one of Beat
Okay.
Takeshi's film where he's dragging around his wife on the red thread and she's completely like gone or something. I forgot the name of the movie, but
posthumous marriage, also known as necrogamy or ghost marriage, is a marriage in which at least one of the participating members is deceased. I skipped to the Japan section. In Okinawa, which has been under the influences of China for centuries, there has been a custom of posthumous marriage. The reason is to correct the rules of placing of spirit tablets. There are strict rules of placing spirit tablets, and if the rules are broken, the spirit tablet under question is moved to a proper place with ceremonies at the order of a spiritualist. Now I'm just more confused.
Yeah, we just came back from Okinawa and we can't help you. Well, I can. I don't know if Luke can.
Did you see any spirit tablets?
No, but I wasn't looking. If you told me in advance, I might have been.
I mean, they have like a completely different kind of grave than they do in mainland Japan. So
it's like it looks like just a bookmark.
I mean, maybe it's inside it's these little mausoleum houses, right? So there could be spirit tablets inside, but we didn't enter the mausoleums because that seemed rude.
But that's sort of what Houseu is about, and there's also a cat.
That's what
powers.
That's what Luke and I saw. We saw with that burnt out trailer that looked completely creepy with one of those Okinawan graves right next to it. So that, like we said, that was definitely the setting for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Getting back to Mark's heroin. I mean, things that just freaked me out is like, Requiem for a Dream or Train Spotting, people just derailing and spiraling. That's just, that's not fun to watch.
I find that stuff depressing, but it doesn't particularly scare me.
Yeah,
because
I guess
I'm too much
of
a I could never kind of a guy.
Yeah, we'll get into it, later. But I actually laughed the whole time I was watching Requiem for a Dream for the first time, and I felt bad. I mean, there's a lot of sort of funny things in it, but
I'm probably gonna laugh all the way through it now because the music is just such meme music. I'm gonna be watching it thinking like, oh, this is like that Newgrounds animation I watched when I was 15 of Mario fighting 1,000 Luigis or whatever.
And I imagine Jennifer Connelly is good, but watching Jared Leto and that would now be kind of more hysterical.
You almost want him to lose his arm anyway.
Yeah. Now you do. Now you do. So, but when I saw it and he was still considered like maybe one of our generation's greatest actors, it was more disturbing.
Yeah.
By who? By Jared Leto?
Yeah, that's
he was still considered good. Even what Dallas Buyers Club was like 10 years after that. He was still considered good then.
No, around 2000, I'm only half joking about people thinking he would be one of the biggins.
He fell from grace very quickly. Like, I think even when Blade Runner, even though he was playing the dumbest possible character in that, he still was, I think, did a good job. And I was like, this is cool.
He did okay in that because he was basically playing Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I guess I think concentrating on a crappy band for several years was probably not a great idea.
Well, that's a lot of people.
I assumed he was a band guy and then an actor. Was it the other way around?
He was considered a serious actor, and then he was like, 30 Seconds to Mars, y'all, let's rock. And then he kind of came back and started sending people like used condoms and stuff. So
man, I hope there is footage
that it was morbing
30 Seconds to Mars, let's rock. That's like it's the morbid time of
that might happen. Luke, that just creeped me out because like your shoulder disappeared and it just looked like a hand came out of nowhere to give you the coffee. Yeah. Okay, that's properly creepy.
You're not used to weird backgrounds. I think I have a bunch of backgrounds that I'm not gonna mess with this. For a while, every time I was on a Zoom call, I had all those stock footage videos. You just get a bunch of stock videos. I had one where it was just like potatoes rotating behind me, a whole bunch, or like worms.
I saw the one guy did the one where he recorded his own room, and then he comes in and gives him a cup of coffee or whatever.
Hell yeah, that rules.
I wish I never spent enough time doing Zoom calls to do one of those, but
Lost Highway. That's a properly creepy movie.
Sure.
But there we go. I Lost Highway I find creepy, especially the phone scene where he's talking to a real life murderer.
Yeah, actual murderer Robert. What was it? Robert Durand? Is that his name?
Blake.
Robert Blake, right?
Yeah. So that movie is pretty creepy. I mean, and partly maybe because it doesn't make any damn sense. So you really don't know what's happening.
Controversial opinion. That's one of my least favorite David Lynch movies because it's the only one he made that was stuck in the time period that he made it in.
Yeah, I kind of wish he hadn't licensed the Ramstein, but
it's not bad, but it's it's not transcend. I think Mulholland Drive was like he just did the same thing but better.
I concur that one's better, but Lost Highway, I do like the griminess of it. I just don't like the Ramstein of it, basically.
I mean, the worst David Lynch, even Dune, I'd take over a lot of things.
We decided we love Dune.
I mean, I kind of love it too. It's just different. It's just, it's just a mess because Dino De Laurentiis was like, let me edit this for you. And then he just like hacked it to death.
Yeah. By the way, Luke, we haven't talked about it in 2 years. Which film Dune do you dig now? Although we haven't quite finished the newer one yet, but
I appreciate the Lynch one as a novelty, but obviously the new one.
Okay, because I'm fully on.
Because I actually like Dune.
Yeah. This is here's a little peek into my subconscious. I bought the book Dune because I was gonna like read it before the new Dune movie came out, and I still haven't even started reading it. So I haven't watched the new one yet.
I read it when I was like 10 years old, and it's one of my favorite books.
So I can probably read it if you could read it at 10. I'm probably.
Yes. I'm very smart, so
yeah. I read it like 3 years ago, and I did enjoy the book, so I was at least that serious about Dune. But I'm like, hey, if I want on the details, I'll read the book. If I want to see like super trippy stuff, then the Lynch one's for me.
I mean, Baron Harkonnen flying around just spitting slime and screaming and laughing in the Lynch one was pretty amazing.
The test will be, will you read more of the books? Because Luke was like, I've only read the first. I'm like, well, I'll just keep reading because I just read like Asimov's Robots and Foundations. I'm like, I can make it through Dune, but yeah, I petered out 50 pages into the next one.
I think for obvious reasons.
I've seen memes more recently, which make me more interested to read the later ones because it sounds like they make it less of a pure hero's journey and more of like a critique of like hero worship.
Oh yeah. Paul turns into a scumbag very quickly.
Well, for obvious reasons, I do want to read God Emperor Dune because that is unfilmable from what I've heard. You know anything about it?
I understand that someone can like becomes a worm in a way.
Like basically, I think Paul eventually becomes a big giant worm and is psychic and is just sort of alone with his thoughts, and it's all in all caps. He's just screaming at himself. That's from I'm interested.
No, I have heard people say like, "Oh, if you thought Dune was trippy, I mean, that's nothing."
Yeah, well, it's all these 70s sci-fi guys, right? It's like if you look at what's his name, Arthur Clarke. If you look at the stuff he wrote after 2001, it goes into just nonsense, basically. Yeah.
I mean, and then I've definitely heard you should draw the line with once you get to Brian's books, though. Herbert's son.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds very likely, but
I mean it's like later Bond books. I mean, why would you bother?
Yeah, we'll get Stuart on one day and just ask him, why'd you keep reading these Bond novels?
I've never read a single Bond novel.
I've read all the Flemings.
Are they worth it aside from the racism?
Yeah.
All right.
From Russia with Love, the movie's great. The book's better.
Cool.
Well, Thunderball becomes an actual good story. Moonraker is a completely different story.
Yeah, of course. That had to have been compromised. But the scuttlebutt is that Christopher Nolan is going to do 60s period pieces that are very close to the books. So
as well, he probably
maybe
should.
That was what me and Matt said. Right after No Time to Die, we were like, the only thing you can do with Bond is go back to the 60s.
Is Nolan the right guy though? He doesn't understand. He doesn't know what a joke is.
No. Hey, I heard you guys aren't getting Oppenheimer at all.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case.
Anyway, yeah, the only thing I'm thinking is that a bunch of the budget would probably be cut into to make it look like the 60s. But aside from that, I mean, why not?
Yeah. I love Nolan, but I don't want to give him a Bond.
My long-time Bond opinion has been like, if we've had 20 years of Bond films where the theme has been, do we need Bond? The answer's no.
Yeah, it's like just go back to where we don't
like
ask
the Cold War
questions.
is when it was relevant, right?
Well, it's like when we were doing the Prisoner podcast, one of my favorite episodes was the one that was just a straight ahead 60s spy thing. And there was just a psychotic lady trying to kill him. And it was great. Just do the thing. It's sort of like The Ring. The Ring is this is a horror movie. There's cursed ghost. You're screwed. That's it. It's dead. Die. Kill your grandfather. Yoichi.
Right. Okay.
Anyway.
I'm thinking of looking up a review here, but
I'm looking at the mad web of sequels and remakes. So there was a Korean remake that came out a year later. Then the American remake a couple of years after that. Then there's Spiral was released the same year as Ringu. But due to its poor reception, Ring 2 came out the next year.
What happens in Spiral?
Right.
I don't know. But then there's a 2000 prequel, which is followed by Sadako in 2019. But Spiral has its own separate sequels, Sadako 3D and Sadako 3D 2. And then there's Sadako DX. And it's not listed here, but I happen to know there's also Sadako versus whatever the one from The Grudge is called.
All I can think of Sadako DX is like, does that just look like a Game Boy Color game?
Released in 2022.
Yep.
No, it's been the past few years. I keep hearing Sadako, and our students bringing up Sadako.
Oh, it's a comedy.
And I'm like,
it's a comedy. It's
got, that makes. I mean, if it's called Sadako DX.
It says a graduate high school student and prodigy with 200 IQ is introduced to the cursed videotape by a psychic fortune teller on a variety show. He says, "Wow, whoa, sounds kind of wacky. Maybe I'll just watch this one."
Kids seem to like it.
All right. People like it. Seems like it has good reviews. Oh no, it doesn't. 2.7 out of 5 from Japanese.
That's
something.
Right in the middle of something. So.
It's a horror movie. Nobody's gonna like it anyway. It doesn't matter.
I was just listening to someone talk about the idea of and hey, this could be an example of it. The 90s 3 that is now a masterpiece.
90s 3?
Yeah, like you go and watch a movie that when it came out in the 90s seemed very boilerplate, but with time, it's just like, hey, this thing's tight.
Speed 2.
Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
Wild Wild West.
No.
I mean, Face Off was a classic already, but it's only gotten better. Like if you watch Face Off now, you'll be like amazed that anything like that.
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Not bad.
That's from a 1 to a 5, isn't it? Everyone hated it when it came out. No, I was thinking something more like something more boring, like a post-7 Morgan Freeman police
Speed
drama. 2. You watch it now and it plays better.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I watched. That's what was it? Oh yeah, True Lies. Well, I felt like that. The thing about True Lies, well,
people used to say it was the bestest, but yeah.
I guess something is the thing is that if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, I wish he'd kept making True Lies movies instead of making Avatar. But rewatching it like a couple of weeks ago, I think I like Avatar 2 better than True Lies.
Yeah, Avatar's the bomb.
Really. It's really good. What is happening to me?
I've been meaning to make a video investigating where the whole fucking name a character from Avatar thing comes from. Because I feel like no one was saying that when the film came out. Some douchebag on the internet said it, and now everyone pretends it's their opinion.
Well, it's kind of
it's real easy to name characters from Avatar.
I am back to Stephen Lang, though. I forgot his name again.
Oh, he's so good.
Colonel Miles
also,
Quaritch.
It's like
Yes,
maybe
there we
it's
go.
not super quotable, and maybe that's good. Maybe I don't need to remember.
Yeah, I don't
everyone's
need my
names
films to
have
just
people.
be, huh, well, that just happened. Imagine
Yeah.
a film where characters talk to each other and stuff.
I loved The Big Lebowski when it came out, and the internet's ruined it for me. I mean, it's still good, I'm sure, but I can't like think
Plus,
about it.
Avatar 2 has an absolutely classic 90s Cameron giving someone the finger. Where the bad guy's like, show me your fingers, and you know he's just
Yeah. Well, also the thing I was thinking about, I swear this is the last thing I say about Avatar 2, but people are like, oh, everyone's it's so bland and whatever, but like all the kids are kind of dicks to each other in a realistic way, but it's not in a way that's like quotable. So I think people just mistake not snarky for bland.
Yeah, people have forgotten what good dialogue sounds like.
Yeah, that reminds me of like a classic Spielberg thing where kids are just being kind of dicks.
Yeah, everyone wants Whedon all the time now, and it's like, no,
thank you. I mean, I don't think anybody wants to work with Whedon anymore, so that's good.
James Cameron weed on Whedon.
I mean, I don't know how many people want to work with James Cameron either, but at least he's gonna get.
But he's professionally a dick.
Yeah,
I've got more respect for that.
I wonder if people like Whedon.
I work in Japan. I have no issue with that.
I don't think he's a creep, so that's important.
No, he's not a creep. He's just a taskmaster. But
yeah,
it's called having a job. People get used to it.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be realistic. Whedon's probably still like under the radar script doctoring, you know?
Yeah.
He's script doctoring for like Kevin Sorbo movies. You think?
Yes,
For what's her name from Mandalorian? What was her name?
Gina something.
Yeah, Gina. Damn, Gina.
Damn, Gina. Do you want to hear a one?
Do it.
A review that's a one.
I couldn't find one that I liked, so you go ahead.
Yeah, there was one that was kind of long, and I don't know. Actually, these do seem like a little more well thought out than usual. So maybe because you're watching a film in a different language, you have to be
almost everyone is like, it's not the American one. That's almost everyone's complaints. So, but go ahead.
Boring and not scary in the slightest. This movie is atrociously boring. The cast and acting is fine, but can be campy at times. That isn't what bothers me, however. This movie is absolutely boring. The story has holes and isn't interesting at all. And the scares, well, I guess that in the scares, well, okay, there's a grammar mistake. I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming they meant in the scares, ... Well, that's my guess. There are absolutely no scares whatsoever. No one point in this movie was I frightened or even jumped. It's a boring and scrappy mess. Calling this horror is a disgrace to the genre. Don't watch this mess. 1 out of 10. That seems like a proper 1 out of 10, I think. 4 out of 8 found it helpful. I was just reading because it seemed like a proper, like they hated it.
I do wonder if this film, like the whole film is building up to that one scene at the end. So knowing that scene, I'm sure does diminish it. Like Mark, you saw this out of the blue, right?
The Japanese one?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely found it like a couple of years after the American one, like deliberately.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you'd seen this one in the theater on its own. No, that's right. You just saw the American one and then this one. Yeah.
I saw this one in the theater after seeing it on video, but yeah, the American
I would
one
love
was my introduction.
I would love to speak to someone who saw this like in the 90s, not already knowing. Because even though I'd never seen either of the Ring films, I knew the gist when I watched this. Whereas not knowing that scene was coming, I'm sure would have been like a great scare.
I would say if I had watched this before the American one came out, I would have been scared. Yes. Because it wasn't, I sort of knew it existed, but it wasn't super hyped up.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, you really can't. I mean, I've never watched any of these movies. And I'm like, yeah, Sadako crawls out of the TV and kills you. That's what happens. That's kind of baked into the pop culture now.
It's iconic. That's the thing. Yeah. It's iconic.
Whereas, yeah, like imagine actually getting a videotape, watching it. It's kind of spooky. And then at the end, something comes out of the TV and gets you. Like on a meta level, that's going to be pretty scary.
I remember when Blair Witch Project came out, I had a friend who had a bootleg copy of it before it came out in the theater. And he was like, I got this tape and it's a bunch of footage of these people who went out of the woods and then died, and then we sort of never got around to watching it, and then the theatrical release came out, and then I found out it wasn't real, and then I was like, oh, I asked him like, so wait, this wasn't real? This was a theatrical movie? He was like, yeah. So I never watched it at all.
Imagine if you'd watched it without finding out, you'd have been so spooked.
I was so disappointed that I was cheated out of that like awesome experience I would have.
Maybe I did see that tape. Although
it was Joey. I don't know if you I don't know if you were hanging out with Joey.
I was hanging out with Joey a little bit, it might have been somebody at my university or something. But I think it was before the theatrical release. I know that because when it came out in the theater, I was like, one, I don't like it, and two, I'm going to get a massive headache watching that thing in a movie theater. Because of all the shaky cam. So
have absolutely no idea. Maybe I'll watch it someday.
No, I don't really recommend it. I thought that review I just read on The Ring, that would be my review for Blair Witch Project.
Okay. I'm not a big found footage guy. Like I like that this movie is a movie. Like Ringu is a movie.
Yeah.
I like that it's a movie.
It's I'm trying to think if there's
or whatever.
I have one of the Blu-rays I got from a few months ago. It was Shyamalan. Sorry, I can't. Shyamalan. The Visit, which apparently is one of his later films that doesn't suck, but is a found footage film, which has kept me from watching it. So,
I heard it was great. I saw Split and Glass. Split was fantastic. Glass was dumb but still enjoyable.
Okay. So anyway, the thing that has kept me watching The Visit is mostly, I don't know, well, I'm not in the mood for a found footage film. I guess it's like better quality found footage, though, right?
I don't know. I haven't watched it. It's supposed to be good.
Okay, Luke, do you remember the found footage movie I think is really good? Or he froze or he's sleeping. We'll see. Anyway, oh, there it goes. Okay. That was too goofy.
Found footage movie you do like.
Yeah, you watched it. I know you watched it because we do a podcast on it.
Oh. No, I can't remember.
Do I remember you guys doing a podcast on a
Europa Report is technically a found footage film.
I saw that in the theater. I thought it was
right, yeah. I don't remember that because I thought it was boring and crap.
Oh,
there's a squid. There's a squid at the end. Until the squid came out at the end, I kind of liked it, but I thought the squid was.
The only bit I liked was the squid.
Okay, there you go.
I liked both. I liked that movie.
I didn't hate it. It was just fine. I was like 6.
Hey, I could like a movie more.
I don't think I hated it or anything, but clearly I don't remember it very well. So
yeah,
I didn't like it as much as The Martian or Ex Machina or Sunshine or what else? Space movie.
I mean, I've certainly forgotten the Timberlake and Space movie. I've forgotten mostly about that.
Was that High Life?
Yeah, except for the captain's workout. That's all I remember. Of course, that's all I remember.
I liked it better than Ad Astra.
I haven't seen that, so yeah.
Don't
wait.
See
you liked High Life better?
I didn't see High Life.
Oh, okay. You liked.
I liked Europa Report better than Ad Astra.
Okay.
I did not like Ad Astra.
Okay.
I think Ad Astra is worse than Rise of Skywalker.
It's fun to say, though.
I think it's fun to just rip something a new asshole by calling it worse than Rise of
Skywalker. No, I mean Ad Astra. It's just fun.
Ad Astra.
Yeah.
It means
Ed Asner.
It means advertise your ass.
Yeah. Okay.
In Latin.
Do we want a goodie review as well? Mark, did you by chance?
No, it's okay. Everyone knows it's a good film.
Everyone knows it's good.
Okay, so we're just
We just gave them an hour-long good review.
True. It's a 7.2 on
I got one right here. In a word, terrifying.
So it's a one-word review.
There's no punctuating. No punctuation.
Okay,
in a word, terrifying.
There's a quickie. Got it.
The American remake is just embarrassing. Anyway, fun stuff. I think this scared me a little bit less than usual this time, and I feel like maybe I'm ready to take some risks and go watch some sequels or something like that.
Are you gonna go to bed tonight?
We'll see. I'll tell you tomorrow if I slept.
Is your TV gonna be plugged in?
No. If I kept like waking up and seeing an eyeball, it's glaring at me.
Yeah, that's no good.
No.
Okay. I guess we'll wrap it up today.
This is a film.
Yeah, sure. Of course it's a film. It's on film. We already said that. Although the water at the bottom of the well was very filthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And dredging of well is I'm just gonna throw out like maybe well of course we get the iconic shit after that, but as a climax, dredging a well is a little underwhelming.
I don't know. You get a sick slimy skull out of it though.
Let's switch.
Yep.
I mean that's the big like action thing. It's them deciding they need to switch.
And she's like hugging the skeleton, and it's like disgusting.
Yeah, so that was all filthy because you smell that briny smell.
I think it was a good climax. Like someone hugging a slimy skeleton is a good climax.
No, my snarky note was the climax is dredging water.
We'll see the parallels with this and Phenomena, which you're doing in a couple of weeks.
Right.
There are some.
Okay.
Slimy stuff, slimy underground stuff.
I guess we'll wrap this up. It's filmed some filth. We will be doing, kind of international or caught horror for the rest of October. We'll see. We might get back to a list after that or not. We'll see.
Depends on what the strikes. It depends on you, AMPTP. Did I say that right?
I don't know.
Scumbags.
The scumbags.
Jerks.
Corporate scum.
Universal. Netflix. You go to hell.
Yeah, we're indie scum. We're indie scum on Patreon, Podcastio, Podcastius.
Indie scum is not the address. You go to Podcastio, Podcastius.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where you go.
If anyone wants to rattle off another one,
hey, check out our other podcasts like Podcast 1999 about Space 1999. We've just started. We're on season 1 of that. Time Enough Twilight Zone podcast, currently doing One Step Beyond. Is that correct?
Correct.
Episodes of One Step Beyond. A game show about games. Luke loves Pokemon. Luke loving on some Pokemon. Hyrule Field Report, going over different areas and things from Tears of the Kingdom, a Legend of Zelda game. We've got, is that all of them?
Did you mention the game show?
Yes, I did, but it's worth mentioning again.
I zoned out. Yeah. Okay.
Well, then listener, please put your phone in the corner of your room, wait 7 days, and cute, adorable little miniature versions of me, Mark, and Matt are going to crawl out and harass you in a sort of Looney Tunes fashion because we're too small to murder you.
Unless you have an iPad, in which we will be large.
We'll be like small soldiers side, so we can
your
pretty good.
They can be dangerous.
Or if you want to just like somehow hook your podcast, like you can play YouTube on a full size TV.
That's what I'm doing. I'm screwed.
Yeah, you can get full size.
Hook it up to a cinema screen. Get like kaiju size Luke, Matt, and Mark to come at you.
Oh man, yeah, pitching that Ring sequel where Sadako comes out of a full movie screen.
Oh, that sounds like that is what happens in Sadako DX at the end.
Okay, cool.
You gotta
watch this.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get ringed.
Get blinged.
Stop a recording.